Hi, this is Susan. We're working in part 2 with the fan. This is a wood wetting fan. You'll want to see part 1 because I explain the ways that you can use this and the tips and tricks with it. So you can find these on eBay. This is an 8-inch. Let me show you the blades. In case you didn't see part 1, you'll definitely want to see it because it has different miniatures. And this is a 4-inch. It's very cute, but you get the most use out of the 8-inch. Now this group of things I've made with some craft wood and using some popsicle sticks, and I made some trim from the edge of the popsicle stick. That's always a good idea. It's always nice to have it on hand. And you might even want to use really tiny little skewer. I showed this in the last one. It was doing this piece. You can use it on the corner and then sand it flat if you want, or keep it round. But this was in the other video, but I'm bringing it back to compare. So let's compare here. This is using pieces of the fan just for decoration purposes, and this is made, with your popsicle stick and your trim for your popsicle stick, where this one is wood popsicle stick on the inside, and then taking the top of your fan piece to use as the full decoration on each side and make it that way, and then using some thin trim on the top. And this can be a planter or it can be a waste paper basket, whichever you choose. There's so many ways and things to make, just like there is for a shelf. Here I've used a section which looks like this section, but it's got even an extension. It's even further extended out. I cut it out of the fan blade. And so see how cute that would be, just decorating a waste paper basket or a planter with that section right there. Now the thing I said in the first video that I would show you is you take wood glue and you go around on your piece and you give it more dimension. It'll round it out, and so you can see that. Let it dry and then you can paint over it. Now I'm using combination of wood on the wood of regular craft paints, and also using these alcohol pens. And it's odd because I'll get a different finish, but I can show you that. Now, like this was done with the alcohol pens, and I just layered it with different color pens and did some streaks in there, and it did cover this up. And if it doesn't cover it up fully, then use a little bit of your craft paint, and once it's dry, then go over it with the alcohol pen and it'll blend it in some more. But see, you can make any kind of shelf really decorative just using these fan pieces. And we're going to make this. This is a magazine rack, and you can see this large section, and I did the wood glue on it. This was painted with craft paints, and then I went over it to make it a little orangier because I'm going to use it in a build that has more orangey furniture that's from China. So I added the orange into it. So I want to show you how to make this. It's very simple, but you'll have good uses for this. Oh, here's some little pieces. Now this is, again, I said, you can think you've seen all the pieces and then go back in and you'll find more. So there's one that's got 2 hearts on the end. Here's one that's got 2 hearts and peaks on the end. Looks like a bow tie. And then there's this round piece. And again, I'm doubling up so that when you cut these out, if it's doubled, you'll have more success. If you're doubling your fan pieces and gluing them and letting, press them down or clamp them and, match them up, and then press them down, clamp them, and let them, see, You won't even be able to tell after you match it up really well that it's 2 pieces, but you'll be able to tell the difference in cutting when you're cutting them out. Now, this is the shelf that I made. This is popsicle sticks. So this is basically using 2 of these, 2 sections. These are the lower section of the fan blade. And I've glued 2 together. And so it starts out larger, gets skinnier, so we need to do the same thing with the wood pieces. This one's larger, this one's skinnier. Now underneath, first you'll put short pieces. There'll be 4 pieces. And then you'll add the bigger top and the bigger bottom. And then these front pieces. These front just help whatever you put on it to help hold it in place. Just looks a little more finished. But very simple. And you can go back and add a back onto it. I added this little piece right here on the back, just so when I putty it to the wall, I'll be able to put the putty right there, or the glue dots, or whatever I choose. And so it turned out really well. And this, again, you can take the wood glue and enhance this, make it rounder. It just depends on what kind of finish you're going to use, if you think it needs it. Because this is cute, it's doubled. This is 2 layers. Actually, it may be 3, but it's at least doubled. And you can get a little bit more relief by adding the wood glue and letting it dry. So another real cute, I showed you in the first video, this one, and explained what it was. This one's kind of hard to see because of the dark, but that's why I haven't painted this. I left these unpainted so that it's easier to see what you're doing. Okay, so let's put this together. Now look at these pieces. These are your ends, and they're beveled. They're cut out and then they're beveled. So it almost looks like a sign. It looks kind of like a frilly sign where you've rounded and come in at the bottom and gone across and come, in on both sides to give yourself the feet. So you see that it's kind of a sign that tapers in a little bit at the waist of it, say, and then you'll come in. So 3 points here, a little curve in, and then curve in for your foot, come in. So you need 2 of these. It's easier to bevel them before you glue them. Now you're going to need 2 sides. I went ahead and glued on the little decors so we'd get it even. They're not perfectly even, and you can use the wood glue to kind of even up, or if you have a piece break out of it, then definitely use the wood glue to fill in where the piece broke, or glue it back together. So we need these to be the same size, be angled, a little angled. You can do whatever design. You could come straight across if you want it more modern. This is just how I saw it in my head, and so I kind of might do another one where it's got 3, so it's a little bit smaller. I was thinking this could be a little bit smaller. So you might want to do 3 scallops. Okay, so you need a base, and on the base you need it to be a little angled on each side, because that's how it's going to sit. So go ahead and bevel just a slight bit. It'll help you to glue it. Okay, so let's get started. And the first, I think it's best to go ahead and let your sides sit up. And it might even be good to use older glue well, this is, whoop, you know how much trouble, if you follow me, you know how much trouble I have with getting glue to stick. I've either got glue flowing out of my bottles all over my my table, or I'm flopping it around, it's not sticking. So that's just, of course, that's just because I'm doing it on camera, because it doesn't do that. Never does it when I'm not on camera. But I know if y'all craft, you know how that can be. So make sure that your beveled is in the right direction as you're, gluing these down. And this is the fiddly part. This is actually the most fiddly part of it. So I set it on its side and kind of check it. You could use, I guess you could use painter's tape or something that would help. But, just to give it time to grab, I set it on its side. Gosh, I can't imagine doing a short with this. Trying to get this to grab. Okay, so once that does grab, then you're good to go. Okay, so we need a handle. So I've already cut the handle arch and tried to size it, and then go ahead and bevel all four sides. Be gentle with the handle, because this one has the grain going up and down, and I've been successful, but I handled it real gently. Once you've painted, and it'll do better, but you could easily break it because the grain as you're sanding. And I want to tell you, the best sanding tool I have gotten so much use out of this one little file that I got in one of those like Father's Day or Christmas gifts where you got 5 of them, little files. And someone was saying that you could get these little groups of files at Harbor Freight, but this one's curved on the top and flat on the bottom side, and that is the one that you will use the most. And the next one is the little round file to put into a hole and kind of sand out the hole, make it nicer. But this one, gosh, I use it so much. So can't wait to try to get to a Harbor Freight and see what those files look like. Okay, so now this one will go on this side, and this one on the other side, but this is not yet grabbed. This is a new bottle of glue, and I want to say that, see how old and ugly this is? But these are my older bottles, and they grab better. So I do keep a newer one to use to fill in little gaps, and like I said, to put it on top of these little pieces to give them more definition. Like this one, I put it on top of it. You want it to flow better, where you want this one to stick. It'll help stick with the wood. So if you have I get these at Dollar Tree over in their like automotive paint brush section, where they have clamps now and all kinds of good things. If you haven't been in, you definitely go to my video and see the great stuff that they're starting to carry at Dollar Tree. And so you can get this, and it's good to get this size. This is the 2 ounces, because then it gets to this gummier stage, and then you don't want it to go, you don't want to have a big bottle after that. It's kind of like the tacky glue. You don't want a big bottle, because then it gets really gummy, hard to get out of the bottle. So I like to just have these smaller sizes. And $1.25 seems like a good price. Okay, so it seems like it's sticking. So let's go ahead, tack on some more. Don't forget the bottom piece. And now you can have it come down on your sides, that your feet, don't have it come further than your feet. And so keep your finger where you're, to keep your feet. You've got to measure it to the top here to get it close to even. And when you're dry fitting it, make sure that it doesn't go below the feet. Now see, looks like that's a little higher on one side than the other. So you're trying to make sure that it isn't higher than your little corner here, your little round. And again, this is going to be something that has to sit a minute to grab. And while we're doing that, I wanted to show this other one to you. I made this one and it turned out just a little bit bigger. It seemed like it was a little bit bigger than the first one I made. And I started looking at it, and to me, I just took the handle off of it because doesn't it look like a crib? Well, this is great for a children's crib, you know, for a playroom. If you cut off about 1/4 of an inch, I've marked it here. I'm going to cut this apart and take this out. So if you cut off 1/4 of an inch, that scallopy look, you could even go higher on one side and be the head of it, but it looks just like a cute little child's crib, you know, for their baby doll. And then put the little design on the side, or on each side, and you could put a little design here if you wanted, any way you want to decorate it. But see how I'm saying take that much off, and it looks just like a little crib. So I thought I'd turn this one into it. So anyway, we've got the two sides going here. We don't have to complete this all the way. And the next thing to glue in is your handle. There you go. Dry fit, glue it in, and make sure it's below the scallop, but not too far down that it wouldn't be purposeful. And then you put your magazines on both sides and your newspaper, and you can put it in an office or in the house, your dollhouse, or in a room box. I have one I'm going to put this one into my dollhouse. So I painted it the colors of the furniture there. So that's the end of that. So I just wanted to share these, and be sure you go back and look at all the different ones in these are different. This is all different from what's in part 1. So you definitely want to go see what you can make out of the part 1. And please leave me anything in the comments that you want to share about ideas that you have, because it might be something I can make up and share with other people. And you know, if something, there's just endless uses besides using this for decoration. And it is in they're in my vintage boutique. That's the decoration's just so pretty on the counter and on the shelves that you'll want to go back to an early video and see that, and see that great counter. It's a counter you can make using acrylic boxes. Okay, so again, you're just checking to make sure it doesn't go above it, doesn't go below it, that it's in place. Get the glue out that we, oh, can you believe that? Of course it's because I'm doing it on camera. Just clean up your glue with a toothpick and set it to dry. And then put your design on it, and then stick your handle down in. Unless you want to make it into a crib. But there's what it looks like. So, if you haven't subscribed and you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. And I love making miniatures out of odd things. And so I'm always looking for something unusual to turn it into something. So y'all share with me if you have any great ideas on something that, you know, came to mind. Please do share. Okay, so thanks a lot for viewing. Bye.